Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chop and Slice. My name is Michael, and this is
Brandon.
We are here to talk about Jeepers Creepers 2. 2003, directed by Victor Salva. We all know what he, is charged and accused for or whatever,
But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about
Jeepers Creepers
2.
We recorded the first one and posted not too long ago.
And we also recorded that piece of shit,
Jeepers Creepers
Reborn.
Yeah. But this one is action-packed from the start. The opening I love. It's one of the most, it's one of the better opening to a horror film that I've seen. I put it up there with, not quite Halloween, but it's up there. The kid is putting the scarecrows on the, I don't know what you call them, but the wood to hang them for the crows and stuff. And then next thing you know, you see the creeper turn his head real quick. That is a awesome, creepy.
That was a good scene.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good moment.
So anyway, yeah, guys, this is a pretty big film. The first one did great. I just want to talk about the opening for a little bit. But the first one did great. The first one was very scary with Justin Long and everything. We know what happens to him. But in this one, you see more of the creeper. You get to see more of his features, more of his abilities, what he can and what he can't do. You get to see. You just learn more about the creeper pretty much. His weaponry and all that good stuff too. So you don't see the truck at all in this one.
I don't think we see it once.
No, the truck's not featured in this one. But
it's actually kind of disappointing.
Maybe a little bit, but I didn't really notice. So in the beginning, yeah, it was kind of surprising because he takes a little kid. In the first one, you don't see him go after a kid, so that was kind of a shocker. He just took the kid.
I was about to say that. Yeah,
very surprising. That part shocked me. That he would go after a kid, but he's probably just a demon. We don't know what he is. You do learn more and more about him, but we know he's very ancient, at least 1700, or at least 1800s, because he has had bodies in that church from 200-something years ago. So, yeah, and I think you learn every 23 years he comes out for 23 days and feeds. So, Brennan?
Yeah,
take it away.
The opening was pretty good, pretty memorable. I remember being pretty freaked out by it, actually. What I kind of like about this movie is I like how there's always something going on, That's not, it's like we have our big opening scene, that it's like the bus comes out and shit starts happening right away.
Right.
The dagger or boomerang, what would you call that? Or throwing star?
That was a throwing star.
Yeah, that's made out of like human body parts.
Right.
And
yeah,
shit.
It was pretty sick.
It just goes right into that, and then they fix their flat, and then they go out again, and then it's nighttime, and then does it again.
Bus full of I believe football players, and then you had a few cheerleaders. It could have been basketball. I didn't catch that, but I think it was football. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they didn't really look too much like basketball players.
If it was football, there'd be more. So it was basketball. It had to have been basketball, though. They did look more like football players, but I think they were basketball. They didn't really give a specific thing.
All we know is it's like a
high school team.
Yeah. Driving down the road, going to a meet or something.
Yeah, a game or whatever. And then they catch a flat due to the dagger and everything, so.
But yeah, the movie gets going right away, and there's always something going on, always something happening. And while they're out there, he's just scooping people up one by one, and then it just goes on from there, really.
Yeah, it's more action packed from the first. Might not be as scary, but this is definitely more action packed. Then we get into the thing with Justin Long. His character Derry is featured in this movie. You see him a few times where he's trying to tell one of the chicks. She has like these visions. Minzy, I believe, is her name, and she has visions, and she sees the little kid that was taken in the
Like
beginning of the movie.
just not too long ago.
And then Justin Long is also trying to tell them to turn around for whatever reason. Like the creeper can't attack him that way either. But
I don't really know what's going on there. See, when movies do that, it just kind of leaves you
but it
a
was
little
cool.
mind
It was
fuck.
cool to see Justin Long.
Yeah, it was still cool to see Justin Long, but
And
that
then we see one of the throwing stars with his belly button attached to it.
that's pretty bizarre.
Yeah, that was like, oh, that ain't good.
Shit's going on.
So yeah, basically, yeah. So we also throughout the movie have this old guy, Jack Taggart, who I believe it was his son. It could have been his grandson, but they didn't ever specify. I want to say it was his son, and his yeah, it was actually his son, and then the older guy's is he had two sons. The youngest got taken, and then he had an older son that was with him trying to track down this creeper the entire movie. And he's listening to the radio and whatnot, and yeah, he gets the call about this bus. He heads over to the bus, and at this point, it's nighttime during the film, and this is when the action gets really good. You know, we see a lot of different things from the creeper, a lot of different abilities, trapping people in his wings, ripping off his own head
And replacing it
and
with
replacing it with a
with
new head.
someone else's
And
head.
then he smiles at the camera. I thought that was a little goofy.
A little over the top.
We didn't need that. And then the character Scott was just annoying.
Very douchey.
Yeah.
We thought he was gonna be like kind of the big hero.
Yeah, I grew up watching this movie. It's my favorite Jeepers Creepers, and I always have fond memories of this movie. But looking back at it, I didn't realize Scott is that big of a douchebag. Like, we see him in the beginning just sitting by himself, being all quiet. Camera zoomed in on him like he's going to be the main character. He kind of was, but it was weird because he was a villain. He was trying to throw people off the bus, you know. So it definitely was a little
Our
strange.
main hero was really the dad.
Yeah. Jack Taggart, played by Ray Wise, who's actually a very popular actor. So, yeah, I mean, a lot going on in this movie. I do like it at night. It was a cool setting. The creeper's licking windows. He's freaking flying all over the place. I do feel like they exploited him a little too much. Like he feels a little bit different from the first. He was a lot scarier in the first. You really didn't see much of his face or anything like that. You did, but like now it's just like zoomed in and you see a lot. He's a lot more goofy in this one.
Yeah. You start to see a lot more features and
him smelling and doing all this weird.
I think it's weird the way he like breathes. He's got his regular nostrils, but then he's got like a third one, like on top of his nose or something, like in between his eyes.
This movie, you can definitely tell it was 2003 era, like down to the way they're dressed and everything. But it was nicely shot. I mean, the scenes at night, where he's in the sky, I thought was cool when when he would go up into the sky, shoot up into the sky, and disappear. That was kind of cool. But the characters, the teenagers, the actors, I don't know. The dialogue was very cringy.
Yeah.
Not any likable characters, to be honest.
Not
even
one.
that Minzy chick.
No, none of them were really likable.
I didn't care if any of them died.
I know.
I actually kind of wanted a few of them to die. It just it didn't. yeah, just like in the first, like I cared about Derry, like I did. You know, he actually was trying to fight for his life and stuff, and you got to know him. I know there's a lot more characters in this one, but you got to you know get to know Derry and his sister and whatever. But in this one, they just threw a bunch of characters in there, and yeah, that Scott guy is definitely not likable. But he does end up dying. He gets a dagger through the arm, and then he gets pounced on and taken. Yeah, it kind of just seems like the creeper in this one has like superhero abilities with the just flying around left and right, scooping up people. I don't know. I do like it though. It's definitely one of it's wasn't as good as I remembered because I haven't watched it in a while, but it's still one of the it holds a special place in my heart. So
Yeah, I don't. I did like all the action that was in the movie, but I don't know. First one I just thought was more scary. I thought it was better written, I guess you would say. But I feel like the first one had more story, but the second one had more action.
yeah,
So
second one definitely had more action.
yeah, a lot more
They showed a lot
going
of the
on.
creeper in this one, a lot more than they did in the first. They were trying to really conceal him a lot in the first. It felt like they wanted to go all out with him. The action scene at the end where Jack Taggart is taking down the creeper is pretty cool. He's got like this I don't know what you would call it. Something where he shoots out this spear uh, attached to his truck like a line. So where he shoots it through the creeper, he can pull down the creeper and then pull him back.
But that didn't really work out so well.
No, not at all.
Not as well as he thought, because he starts to realize, how strong this thing really is.
Yeah, and this is also the creeper's last day
Right,
too.
last day of feeding.
So he's a lot more aggressive in this, and yeah, he takes one hell of a beating.
But what Victor Salva does was pretty good. How you're supposed to do it for the first movie, you gotta set the story, you know, and then second movie you can kind of go all out, and that's basically what he did.
And who knows if they plan on making a sequel? But the first one did really well, so it was really received pretty well. So they decided to go ahead with the second one. The creeper does eventually. He does not die.
He does
Or
go back into
hibernation,
hibernation.
but he does take a spear in the head and repeatedly stabbed. So Jack Taggart does somewhat get his revenge for his son. But yeah, like overall, this movie, I wish they stayed during the daytime a little bit longer. They went to night pretty. It's a very dark movie. Like you can't really. It's hard to see a lot that's going on. There's a lot of characters. Wish there was a little bit less characters you had to worry about, but all the coaches get taken and everything. That's cool. I like that when you see that first coach and they're all like, "What is going on?" You can actually see the fear in their eyes. That's cool.
But yeah, like I said, it's pretty good. I would definitely recommend it for anyone that hasn't seen it. I really recommend all these movies besides Reborn.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of 3, but we'll get to that one eventually.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
But 1 and 2, the 1 and 2 combo is really really good. To be honest, these are one of the best 1 and 2 franchise to kick off. You got Halloween up there. I would put it Nightmare 1 and 2 too. Friday. But yeah, I think Jeepers Creepers definitely their 1 and 2 punch. It's one of the best horror franchises, 1 and 2s I've seen. So I put it up there with Halloween's and whatever else. It's definitely earned its respect.
Yeah,
Child's Play 1 and 2. It's not as good as those.
No.
Their first two, I'd say it has a very good 1 and 2 punch.
Jeepers Creepers, it definitely has its
Flaws, but
it has its flaws, but it has its
good moments.
like cult fan base.
Yeah,
I guess you would call it.
he's a
It
very
has its
very good
fan base.
slasher. It's different. It's something different.
And I do consider this slasher,
Yeah.
by the
So
way.
this one actually takes place after the third movie and after the first. So after the first and after the third. So it's a sequel to the first and a sequel to the third, technically. So just FYI, which is kind of cool.
It's a little confusing.
Yeah, they kind of muffled it all up, but we still
It's
don't know what he is. I mean, I'd love to know. Well,
I've tried doing research on it. There's really
he's just a demon bat. I don't know. He comes from hell. That we do know.
I I would say so.
But his abilities are shown on display. I like him. I like the action. The action's really the best part of this movie when they all run out the bus. That's crazy.
Well, I don't know why they did that though.
I still don't understand. Yeah, again, it's a early 2000 slashers. Their decision making as characters aren't the best in this.
And they were talking about it like it makes total sense why we need to run out of the bus.
Like he's gonna get in here. I think you got a better shot at that. Trying to all tackle him and
Especially if they knew. Well, I don't know if they really knew that this was his last day of feeding. Besides,
oh no, she mentioned it.
she did mention it, but whether they believed it or not,
They said they just had to wait till morning, but that
if
guy,
it had just stayed on the bus.
the creeper, kept going and coming and coming and coming. But I mean, they eventually got him in the end, and yeah, so that was cool. So yeah, let's get to the ratings. This is a movie that I would recommend. It's very well put film. The dialogue though is cringy AF. That should have been tightened up. The actors weren't the best. But the action was definitely really, really good. Like the Scott character kind of just dragged it down. He's the main guy. That's very unfortunate. That guy's just a douchebag in this movie. And they didn't really have one good like major role like for a character. Like there was no okay, this is our you know star. This is our Justin Long right here.
Yeah, there was nothing really established
I mean,
there.
the Jack Taggart character, he was like in and out of the film. He wasn't in the film enough to be the main guy. So like it was just bouncing around. It wasn't Scott. He was just some douchebag and he got killed and he was actually an asshole. So I don't know. But like I said, let's get to the ratings. I would give this film based off nostalgia, everything like that, the action. There was a lot of good scenes. I would personally give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. Jeepers too. 7.5 out of 10 for me.
It's a pretty high score.
Pretty high score, but
For
I
Jeepers
enjoyed it.
Creepers too.
I
Wow.
enjoyed it. I don't know if I rated one higher. I probably did, but I just watched it and it was kind of dropped. I know I still maybe Jeepers Creeper 1. I will admit is a better movie overall, but it's not my favorite. I still like this one more. Yeah, it may not be a better movie, but I still like this one more.
I do remember I don't remember what you gave the first one, but I remember I gave it a 9.
I probably gave it a 9.
Yeah,
But
it was something like that.
yeah.
It was rated pretty high on there.
Brandon, go ahead.
I'm gonna give it a 6.5
That's not bad.
out of 10 for me. So basically 1 point lower than yours. What I'm going to say about this movie and why I score it the way I do is, yeah, the action sequences were cool. It kept you on your feet, and that's a very important quality to have in a movie. But basically, a lot of my issues with it is there was no likable characters. I don't care if any of them die. There was no protagonist that I was rooting for really in this movie. I'm rooting for Jeepers Creepers. Like there's there's just no one good. The dialogue was so bad, and I don't like how that chick has like these visions, and then that just led to more cringy dialogue. Like, what did you see? Like, oh, well, why don't you tell us? And it just, I don't know. It's moments like that I just can't stand it really. But it's really just kind of the action alone. Maybe a little bit of nostalgia in there.
Yeah, definitely nostalgia.
So,
And now in this current timeline, technically, we are in 2026, and I doubt they'll continue this, but just letting you guys know, we're in 2026. The movie was made in 2003. Actually, no, we're not, because it was the same like week as Justin Long's death, and that was made in 2001. So we're probably 23 2024 is what era or what year the franchise is currently in, this current franchise.
wow.
And so that's kind of cool.
But yeah,
2024. We'll see
that
if
is
they
interesting.
capitalize on that. I doubt it, but
Yeah.
to Salva issues and stuff.
Well, one thing that was cool though with I know this is something to bring up for It movie, but what was kind of cool was when Stephen King's It, when that came out in 1990, they came out with the remake in 2019, which was exactly 29 years later after uh, Pennywise comes out of hibernation every 29 years.
Yeah.
So that was cool how they did, and I know they did that on purpose. They totally did it on
That was
purpose.
cool.
So, anyways, with that being said, that leaves it at an official Chop and Slice rating of 14
Out of 20.
20.
Like we said, guys, go see, buy it, whatever. Just go see it.
Should be available on some streaming platforms.
Obviously, watch the first one first. That's highly recommended. Then you could do all three in one night.
If you want to watch it in order of timeline, then I guess go 1, 3, and 2. But
Yeah.
if you want to watch them in release, then 1, 2, and 3. Avoid Reborn Like the Plague.
Yeah.
Fuck that movie. And that doesn't even have any correlation with the story anyway, so.
No. Hopefully we get a sequel to this before we would Reborn.
I
would like to see the character stay alive. It's unfortunate what happened. But
and the thing is, like, after the third movie, it was like, in the end where they say, I know who you are, you know? Like, I was, like, waiting for, like, Jeepers Creepers 4 to come out and, like, say, like, who he is. Because I want to know. I know it's probably, like, the mystery factor makes it more interesting, scary, but there's a part of me that really wants to know where he comes from.
It would be nice. They've done some hints and stuff in the second and third, but still would like to know.
What I think's probably going on is they're probably in a room, like, talking about, like, how they're gonna, like, do an origins and how they're going to, like, explain.
Yeah, they should do
this.
an origin movie. They definitely need to. I hope the Jeepers Creepers character stays alive.
If they do an origin movie, like, yeah, it'd be really cool to see it set in
like
1700s or 1800s. It'd
that'd
be really
awesome.
cool. Oh my god, prime Jeepers Creepers too. Like,
yeah.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
It doesn't have to be set in the United States. I'd like to see it somewhere else too.
Maybe in Europe somewhere.
Russia during World War II or something.
Well, no. Well, not if it's 1700.
Well, no, but just whenever. You can set it whenever, just not modern time.
I want to see it, like, way far back. You know, back when people were, like, totally helpless.
Yeah.
And what the creeper was capable of. Back when people were just using
They were a lot
pitchforks.
smarter, though. They had, well, not, you know what I mean. They had ways of
dealing with things.
So, all right, guys. That'll do it for this review. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to. It's been another review from Chop and Slice. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And
we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Don't show your fear.
Later.